for part 2, we'll proceed to AutoCAD drawing commands part 2. So here we will go over with the special functions. So earlier in part 1, I mentioned some of this here. Okay, we'll go to OSnap. Object snap means this is the function which I've shown in the part 1, wherein when you move around your mouse, there are some like a magnet, okay, that locks your cursor on that certain portion of your draw entities. So like this one here, it locks at the corner, wherein that's the corner of your rectangle, center of the arc, end point of your line or starting point. So how does it function? Okay, this is how you go. You go under tools, and then there is a function here, drafting settings. Under drafting settings, there will be a window that appear, so which is this one. Okay, uh, by the way, I'm using a dual screen. That's why sometimes when I open these functions, it appears on the other screen. So this is the one which after you click tools, and then you click drafting settings, it will appear. So here you can see snap on, which is F9. There is a setting snap type, rectangular and isometric snap. Rectangular means it will be limited to horizontal and vertical only. Isometric snap, it will be the mouse movement will be limited to the isometric angle, which is 30 degrees, 60 degrees. Remember your drawing one, so that will be the purpose of this isometric snap. And then the rest is okay, no need to modify that. Polar tracking, this is actually not supposed to do changes, but instead after you go to drafting setting, go to object snap. So you can see here a lot of functions. So these are the selection that or options that you need to decide and select. For me, I am convenient to select this part like endpoint. Endpoint means either starting point of your line or end. Midpoint means exactly the middle of your entities or line. Center applicable to circle, so you can I check center. And then quadrant is also applicable to circle, wherein it will locate the 4 quadrants of a circle. Intersection means the overlapping of your lines or entities. It will show an X symbol. And then extension, this is optional actually. Sometimes I don't click this one. And then perpendicular is the right angle or perpendicular part of your drawing. So we will demonstrate, or I will demonstrate. So take note that only those boxes that I put a check mark appears when I do some object snap. Okay, I will click this. Okay, so like for example, I will do line inside here, line. So if I want to connect my line to the corner, see it is highlighting. So that's the endpoint of this entity. If I go here, okay, the symbol appears as perpendicular. So meaning if I create this line, it will be exactly 90 degrees, which or perpendicular to this existing line. And then if I go to this line, the arc, you can select the end of your arc or the center point of your arc. So since I click on the center of a circle, that symbol appears. So that's how it functions. Intersection, I have to do some lines so that this is considered as intersection. So if I do a line and then I want to connect it here, see, intersection snap appears, which is X, and then here also. This one also, this one is endpoint, so that's why it's not intersection. So in the it's not X, the symbol that appears. Instead, it's square for endpoint or starting point. For polygon, I think it will appear as a center as well because we created this with a center location or center point. So that's how objects now function. Then you can see, sorry, I go back to the previous one, second one. So next one, just to give you an information about the coordinate system. So you can see here absolute, the coordinate is definitely or defined by specifying x and y displacement from the origin. So you know already that x is distance from left to right or your horizontal, and then y is your distance or coordinate using a vertical measurement or distance. So this is y, this is your x. So that's the coordinate system. And then relative, the coordinate is defined by specifying x and y displacement from the last known point. So relative means your previous command, you need to know the x and y of this one or the endpoint or starting point. But in fact, because of using the OSNAP, you don't need to know exactly what is the coordinate of this one here. So instead, if you want to connect a line from that point or this point, and because you set your object snap, all you need to do is just bring your mouse there and then automatically it will connect. So there will be no the joint is seamless, 0 0 error, exactly there. Okay, that's the function of the object snap. But if take note that if the object snap is turned off, I will turn off by pressing F3. Okay, object snap turn off. If I create a line, I cannot exactly start my point or my line there. Okay, so like if I click, then the line will not be joining each other. Even if I locate that one, still I cannot manage to be exactly. See, if I zoom in, there's still a gap in between. But turning on the object snap, I press again F3, turn on. If I want to put this one exactly on the endpoint of that line, it will highlight. That's the difference. So your drawing is very accurate. So that's the function of the relative coordinate, which is um, you're no longer consider this if you turn on your object snap. Polar, this polar is the definition. The coordinate is defined with specifying the distance and the included angle from the last known point. So this is applicable if there is an angle. So again, polar it will not function as polar if you just turn on your object snap. Alright, so let us proceed to the next one. Work area definition. So work area definition means the area or a specific portion of your screen that you specified as your uh, working area. For example, if you set your paper size, you need to limit your you have to specify rather your limits like from 0 0 it will be like this. If you want to limit your working area to this size only, you have to specify, like this is the A3 size bond paper. You have to measure according to the size of the paper. So you have to start from 0, 0, whatever the length of your paper, you have to consider this and the height. So that's how the limits function. Okay, so next, grid. Grid is, it's like a graphing paper which you can set the distances of those lines. So there is a shortcut for grid. You can press F7. So you see automatically a very light color appears on your screen wherein it can serve as your guide. Okay, by pressing F7, it will turn on and off. F7, you can see here, off, on. So function of that is F7. Okay, but I don't normally use it. So just for your guide. And then next, snap. This snap is a movement of your mouse. Okay, if you press F9, turn on. So you will notice that when you move your mouse, it will be limited to a certain point wherein uh, it depends on the setting that you put in your drafting setting. Remember that snap here. Okay, turn on now. It's turn on because I press F9. So the distances between your X and Y movement is 0.5, which is very small. But if, for example, if you want to put this 20 and 20, we will put back again later because this is very inconvenient for you if you set to this figure. I'll press OK. I'll put the line. I use line. You see my mouse is jumping to a certain distance, which is 20. The movement of my mouse is not smooth anymore because it was set to 20. See, it's jumping to every 20. Okay, so again, which is not I don't recommend using this one. So you can press F9 to turn off. So now I can move freely my mouse, and then if I will not lock to horizontal and vertical, I will press F8 for the ortho off. So I can move my mouse freely. So we will restore that one, previous one, 0.5, so that it will not affect the movement of the mouse if it is in ortho mode or if I press F8. So now it's not jumping to every 20 unit. Alright, so that's OSNAP. And then ortho, I already explained this one. By pressing F8, it will turn on or turn off your ortho function. Layering techniques, this is later on I will demonstrate this when you create your template title block. So there are certain function of your layers. You can turn on, turn off, freeze, lock, unlock. Okay, then we'll jump to editing techniques. Move means if you want to shift a certain entity or object to another location. So by highlighting your drawing or part of your drawing, you can use move command. You can press M for move, enter, then you just click and then you can drag. That's the move function. Alright, so move also, you can click this one. This is the move icon. You can click this one and then drag. Okay, so very easy. Next one, copy. Obviously, copy functions like you're copying certain object. So copy is here. Icon is like is this one. Copy means it will create another or similar entity, whatever the size, it will copy. Okay, that's the function of copy. Or you can type CO for copy. Same. So you can differentiate which is better for you to use. Either you can use the command line or the icon. You have an option. Copy and then array. Array means multiple copy or multiple creation of an entity. So it's not anyway, I will not demonstrate it. You just read the instruction here how to use an array. It's like a grid creation. I think I will demonstrate. Okay, I want for example this one I will create a multiple uh, like I will call this diamond. I will do a series of diamonds through grid. So if I use array, this is the rectangular array. So there is under rectangular array, there is uh, there is an option here because you can create also in a circular manner. So this one rectangular, you see it's automatically created different the same shape in multiple way instead of copying one by one. This one creates, so through grid it creates something. I will undo array. You can enter, actually you can adjust this one. You see this is applicable for multiple creation of the same entity. All right, so that's how array function. Next one, uh, few more commands, then we proceed to the proper plate of yours. So fillet, this is for editing also. Fillet means you can uh, do something about the shape. For example, a rectangle. You want to modify the corner instead of drawing a curve here or diagonal line for chamfer. You can use these two. This is for fillet. This is for round and this is for angled corner. So fillet, I want to have a curved line or curved corner. So here you are asked to enter radius. So I will type R and then given your radius. So for example, I will use 20 as my radius. Enter. So you observe what happens next. If I click here, you have to click two lines. So it becomes a smooth curve. So if you want to double check the curve there, I can click this one dimension. So radius is 20. So that's how it functions. While chamfer, it will create an angled line on the corner. So that's the difference between fillet and chamfer. Chamfer means here. Okay, so the same thing. I for the fillet, you have to enter the radius. For chamfer, chamfer, you have to enter distance or angle, whatever you want to enter here. So I will use distance, and then I will use distance from the corner like 50, and the other one from here to here 50 also. And then observe what happened. Click here and then click here. So distance from the corner here to here is 50, from here to here is 50. That's how those corners function, corner command functions. Fillet and chamfer. Chamfer is not here. So anyway, I already demonstrated. Then trim. How many? There are still few to complete our discussion. So I'll go to trim. Trim is, for example, you have a series of lines. Intersections. You need to trim something. Like for example, you want to cut off this one. So the command is trim, tr, trim. You have to highlight your cutting line and you enter. And then whichever lines that you want to cut or remove, then click it. For example, I don't want this line, so I'll click this one. Then for this one here, since this is the cutting line, I can remove this one and I can remove this one. So similar to this one, just highlight the cutting line and then you just press enter and then it will function. So for example, I will remove these two also. I can use this line to cut this line. So again, I will use command trim, click, enter, and then click. It will be removed. So that's trim. Next one, rotate. Okay, rotate. I will use this one. Copy. Okay, rotate. This is the rotate icon, or you can simply type RO. And then you are asked to specify the base point. So like for example, I want to rotate this object from here. I'll just click this one and then I can rotate this object. So notice that it is moving on a fixed location because the ortho rather is turned on. If I press F8, now the movement is very smooth because the ortho is not locked to horizontal and vertical direction. Okay, so if you rotate somewhere with a specific location, you have to specify the angle. But if not, then you can just click somewhere and then it will rotate. Again, even here you can click the center point and then you can rotate. Okay, so that's rotate function. Next one, mirror. Mirror is a symmetrical look of your existing object. So like this one here, if you use mirror, it will create an opposite image or symmetrical image. Okay, we will use mirror, which is this one. This is the mirror or MI as your command. Enter, and then you are asked to specify your first point where you want to mirror that object. So for example, I will use this corner, and then you are asked for the second point. And since our ortho is on, I can just move either vertically or horizontally. So you see, if I use vertical, it creates a mirror image on the left. If I use the horizontal, it creates another or symmetrical image or mirror image below the line. Okay, so that's how mirror functions. Instead of and then you are asked, by the way, if you want to remove the previous one or you keep it. If you want to keep it, So that 2 will appear. You can just press enter since the highlighted option here is no. But if you want to remove this one and retain only this mirror image, you can click yes. See it, the one here, the original one, disappear. But if you want to create mirror by not deleting the other one, so after you click for the second point, you just click no, and then this one will be, or it will remain there. Okay, that's mirror. Next one, offset. Offset is creating an object out from the existing one. Okay, so like this square, you want a series of squares outside this one. So all you need to do is highlight, offset icon is this one. Sorry, that's scale. Where is offset? This one. Okay, offset. Or you can simply type O for offset. And then you are asked for a distance. Like for example, you want to create an another image bigger than this outside or outward direction. You have to specify the distance. So for example, I'll use 20 as my distance, or they call it true 20. See, if I put my mouse inside the existing square, it will create another one, so which means the distance of this line from here to here is 20. Okay, if I put my mouse outside, it will create a bigger size image, so the distance of that from the original one is 20, like that. Again, enter, sorry, enter 20, specify this one 20, and then can create here. So here, instead of creating, you just press and same command. Actually, you can click like that if you have similar distances. It's very fast. But if you have different distance, then you have to enter again a uh, new number or new distance. So that's offset. And then extend. Uh, extend is an invert command with trim. Trim, you remove something, while extend, you have to elongate your existing line. So for example, this one, I want to this line to touch on this line, and then this also. So 3 lines with different location of endpoint, but I want these 3 lines to end on this line. So this is how extend function. By the way, trim command is, the icon is this one, while extend is this one. So extend, you can type in EX, and then you click this one. Then after selection of object, you press enter, and then select the object that you need to cross or to touch this one. So this one, I click, click, click. So all of them are touching to this line already. So that's trim. Next one. Sorry, that's extend rather, not trim. Explode. The function of explode is like this. If you have a rectangle, for example, okay, or square, if you notice, if I click this object that I created as rectangle or square, it highlights everything. Okay, but to think that you can create also a rectangle using lines like that. So comparing to this, when I click this one, everything highlighted is highlighting, while this one, it's an individual line. Okay, so meaning you can delete only this one if you don't want, while this one you cannot delete a certain part because it is a one object. Okay, so but if you created a certain object like square, you can scatter this, or you can separate these four lines to make like this. Okay, so all you need to do is just use explode. So explode, so type explode is here, explode. Then what happens next is you have an individual entity already, four lines. So that's how explode function. All right, so this one is rectangle. So you will know when you see the some entities that why is it that they are of the same shape, but why is it that when you click like this one here, it's one object, but if you explode this one, so it will be different from this one you click once, it highlights everything. This one you click, only one entity highlighted. Okay, so that's the difference between the two, you exploded and not exploded. Okay, scale. Scale is if you want to enlarge and reduce your object. So again, use this one for a quick demonstration. For example, you want this size to be double. So using a scale, instead of drawing, uh, we will make an accurate rectangle. So I will enter. By the way, I can enter the X and Y using at symbol in your keyboard at. Sorry, I use number instead of at. Click the starting point and then press at. Then you specify your X. So I'll use 20 and then uh, another 20 for my Y. So again, at 20, use comma to separate your X and Y. So 20 is lock. Another 20 for your Y. Enter. So this is our 20 by 20 rectangle. If we double check the size, it is correct. So instead of doing a command, this is another option, which it is a longer process. At 40 comma 40. So this is the size twice with this size. So take note, if you use scale, which is C as your command, then you specify a certain point or base point, enter, and then now you need to enter the scale on how. So I'll just put 2 or twice the size and then enter. So you see now the object from 20 becomes 40 by 40, which is exactly the same with the one I created using command line. But so which one do you prefer faster to use? Creating by entering the coordinate or just using a scale? So same result, different method or procedure. So that's scale. And then inquiry. Inquiry means if you want to check if your entities is correct or not. So for example, this one, remember that we created this as 40 by 40. So to check if the detail of this one is correct, you can click this one and then inquiry, inquire, or simply you can use I cannot remember because li list. This is for entity also. List, you click this one and then enter. So it will show you the detail here. Okay. The sides are not shown how big, but the area and the perimeter it shows. So obviously, since the perimeter is 160, meaning 40, 40, 40, 40, and the area is automatically computed. So area of this square is shown 1600. Inquiry actually is here. There is a portion here during utilities, properties. It should be under here. Audit recover. I cannot find it because I normally use list or li to check the entity of my drawing. For example, line. I don't know how long is this line. So I just press or I just type li for list, enter, and then I will click this one, enter. The length of the line appears here. So it's 294.51. Angle also shown, and the coordinates location of this shown. So that's how it functions. So it doesn't really matter if you use list or inquiry. All right. Okay, so blocking techniques is an advanced command, so we will not discuss this for now. It will be soon. Insert also the same, hatching. It will be on the next discussion. Dimensioning, you will not use this one. I will explain this in your plate number 2. Okay. So because for now, I need to do another video for your plate number 1. So plate number 1 will be an application for what I have discussed in video 1 and part 1 and part 2. Alright, so I stop this recording here now to proceed with your plate number 1 content.